You're listening to The Gary Harris Show on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
Free shipping to your home on purchases of $. Your new Academy Sports and Outdoor store is located at 4610 U.S. Highway 280 in Birmingham.
The Gary Harris Show. UCM host Tider Insider TV. Crimson Tide Kickoff. Play-by-play for Alabama sports and sports director for WVUA 23. It's time for the Gary Harris Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Gary Harris Show for this Wednesday, November 6, 2024. I'm your host, Gary Harris. Chase Brumfield's right there on the other side of the glass, manning the controls, taking your phone calls on the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline at 205-342-9904. And for some reason, when it's 80 degrees outside, Bombie's wearing a hoodie. Chase, what's the thought process?
I'm cold. I'm really
Are you
cold.
really?
I promise you, I'm cold, Gary.
So, okay. I deal with this at the TV station. Richard Scott, of course, Richard Scott's about 6'1" and 125 pounds. But his office is in, his weather center's in the studio. And he will, there's the air conditioning unit's behind a door. He'll shut the door and crank off the air, and I'll go in there to be 90 degrees. And he's like, and so I go in there, I got to open the door and a little air out. So if you're cold this morning, I would hate to see, what do you do when it really is cold? Can you even function?
I cry inside.
Because I mean, I'm sitting in here with T-shirt and a shorts on, and I'm warm. I'm like, is the air going to kick on? And Chase is over here wrapped up in a hoodie with the hood on his head, not pulled down below his neck. All right. Well, welcome into the show, everybody. You know this isn't a political show. I talk sports and more, but the more is usually pop culture, music, things like that. But, you know, we said yesterday was Election Tuesday. We do want to acknowledge the election. And, again, all I know is what I see on TV. I guess the projections are that Trump is going to regain the White House. So let me just say this. I'm very similar. Sports and politics are very similar to me in regards to when you discuss them. It's hard not to get into an argument with somebody that has a different viewpoint than you. It's just kind of the way it works. It's like a ball game. If you're talking, Alabama, Tennessee fans are talking, they're probably not going to agree on much. People that are on different sides of the political spectrum aren't probably going to agree on much. But all I'll say is this: I don't talk about who I voted for. I don't talk about, and I'm not a party candidate. I'm a party person. I'm a candidate person. I look at but anyway, long story short, regardless of who won, I was going to get up and come to work this morning. I wasn't going to go out on social media and have a rant. I wasn't going to attack people that feel differently about things than I do. I know that puts me in the minority. There's going to be a lot of venting and a lot of frustration and a lot of back and forth. But I would say this is my public service announcement. I've said this before in my limited political discussions. Chase, I guess I'm probably in the minority in this. I pull for the president, regardless. Does that make any sense? Whoever the president is, I want the president to be successful because that is better for our country. So, yeah, I pulled for Joe Biden. I wanted Joe Biden to be successful. He was the president. I'll pull for Donald Trump. You know, I don't, for me, it's pretty simple. Once the election's over and the president has been elected, the president is my president, regardless of whether I voted for that person or not. So I hate when people say on either side, well, that's not my president. No, it really is. If you're a citizen of this country, just because you didn't vote for that person is your president. And I hope that Donald Trump is successful in his 4-year tenure. I hope the country's in better shape in 4 years than it is now. I don't know if it will be, but that's my hope. And I would say the same thing if Kamala Harris had won. I'd be pulling for Kamala Harris to be successful as a president. I'm pulling for Donald Trump to be successful as a president. So anyway, that's, again, I'm just looking up at the TV screen, and that's what they're saying as far as the national scene is that Trump's going to win. Again, I don't guess anything's official until, I don't know, sometime later today or until it's certified or whatever. But anyway, we're going to move on to what we're going to talk about mainly here on this show, and that's sports. Before I give you the rundown, I do want to tell you this hour of the Gary Harris Show being brought to you by my good friends at Alabama Credit Union. And I mean that. Everything they do is community-oriented, member-owned, and not-for-profit. Secret Meals for Hungry Children is one of the best programs out there. Backpack is stocked with food for kids go home for the weekend to make sure that they've got good, healthy food to eat over the weekend, not just during the week when they're at school. That's what they're about, community-oriented, your trusted partner for financial success. Embrace financial well-being with Alabama Credit Union. Find out more at alabamacu.com. That's alabamacu.com. Alabama Credit Union, loans for real life. Some rules and restrictions do apply. See if you're eligible for membership. Then join today and feel good about your money. And put a little extra change in your pocket. All right, I can't wait for 9:30. It'll be Victory Lap Wednesday for me as I hit another winner. I've just smoked Matt Coulter, who is my NASCAR go-to guy. He knows more about NASCAR than I'll ever know. But I picked 6 winners so far this year. He's only picked 2. My latest success was Ryan Blaney. Now we got 1 race left at Phoenix for the championship 4. And they are Logano, Blaney, Logano a 2-time champion, Blaney the defending champion, Reddick, and Byron. And we will have that NASCAR segment. I can't wait for it at 9:30. Then at 10 o'clock, Barbie Perry from the Bama Against Bullying fashion show that's coming up on Sunday. She was in studio last year to promote it. We're going to have her on the phone for an interview this morning at 10 o'clock. This is a really great event, fashion show. I think there's music. It's a huge event. Bama Against Bullying fashion show. And then at 10:30, Larry the Music Man. Now you're saying, well, you're talking about fashion and you're talking about music. Well, we're going to talk a lot of sports too. In NASCAR, we'll talk a lot of football. Believe me, we're wide open in this first half hour for phone calls. Alabama continues to get ready for LSU. I made my prediction last night on Tider Insider TV, Chase. I went Bama 31, LSU 24. And do I feel really confident about that pick? No. But I do feel more confident picking Alabama than LSU, or I'd have picked LSU, even though when I pick against Alabama, I do take a lot of pushback. A lot. I mean, I've even had people email the TV station, saying I should be fired for picking against Alabama. Like I said, sports and politics, they're not that different, I mean, if I'm the, university TV station sportscaster, there's no way I should be allowed to pick against Alabama. Now, that's not common, but it has happened. But so maybe I just didn't want to deal with any pushback. No, I think Bama's going to win a game. I think that, first of all, let me say this about how big this game is for Kalen DeBoer. There's nothing you can do about Vanderbilt and Tennessee. Those games are over. They're disappointing. I guess what's more disappointing to me about those games is, and I've given Vanderbilt credit till I'm sick of giving them credit, okay? They're having, by their standards, a great year, an unbelievable year. They're doing things that nobody expected them to do. And I give Tennessee a lot of credit for making the plays when they had to make them. I didn't feel like that, and this is, the teams that won the game deserved to win the game. But Alabama did not play well in those games. Now, that's a fact. Sometimes you play well in games and you get beat. It happens. I've seen it. I've seen some of Nick Saban's teams play really well and get beat. I look back at some of the performances by certain quarterbacks that just had career days and beat Alabama, even though Alabama played well that day. I look back to the 9-6 game in overtime in 2011 to LSU here in Tuscaloosa. Alabama played well in that game. They played well in that game. They still got beat. Alabama did not play well at Vanderbilt. Alabama did not play well at Tennessee. That's the hardest pill to swallow. Penalties, mistakes, miscues. If you go up there and you play well and get beat, then you just say, we played well, we just got beat. But when you don't play well and you help out the other team, I think that's frustrating. So I think the key Saturday night to the drill is Kalen DeBoer's 0-2 in SEC road games. That's his record. And you lose a Saturday night, he's going to be 0-3. All of a sudden, you're going to already start saying, well, can this guy win big games on the road in the SEC? Well, the answer will be no to that point. Also, if you lose this game, and we'll get to the playoff rankings in a moment, if you lose this game, because Alabama's in good shape after the first set of playoff rankings, but if you lose this game on Saturday night, you're probably out. And it's going to be, not what Alabama fans signed up for this year. So here's the deal. Alabama wins that game. We'll be sitting in here Monday morning. Chase, you and I will be sitting in here, and phone calls are going to be high energy, positive. Oh, we're going to want to go to the playoffs. We're going to finish it out. We're going to, and they're right. It should be. Should be. Because if Alabama finishes 10-2, I'm going to say this. I've said it already, I think, on the show, but for the record, I think they'll be in the playoff. But if they're not, doesn't matter. It's still, there's no way you could say if Kalen DeBoer goes 10-2 in his first year in the that it wasn't a successful season, because it will be. 10-2 will be a successful season regardless, even though I think they will be in the playoff. Even if they're not, I'll say, you know what? That's a good year. If you're not 10-2, it's going to be a disappointing season. And if you lose that game Saturday night when we're in here Monday morning, the demeanor and the temperament of Alabama fans is going to be a polar opposite. That's how big this game is. Because if you're 8-0 going into this game, Chase, or you're 7-1, you still want to win. But if you lose, all hope isn't lost. But by being 6-2, by having, in other words, if Alabama had won at Tennessee and won at Vanderbilt and they were 8-0, you'd still want to win that game. But if you lost that game, you know what you'd say? Well, we're still 8-1. We're still tied for the lead in the SEC. That's gone. There's no margin for error. So if you lose that game, you're going to be 6-3. And you're going to be 3-3 in the SEC. And you're going to be out of the college football playoff race. So one game is just one game. It counts one. But with what is on the line, this isn't just another game. This is a game that's going to dictate the entire season for these two teams. The winner is moving on with everything's in front of us. We control our destiny. The loser is like, well, no, we don't. So the game is the game. It's going to be played on the field. But what is at stake? Because Alabama has lost twice, and same thing for LSU. They've lost twice as well. With what's at stake, this isn't just another game. It's a playoff game. It is a game that is going to dictate the vibe of how people are going to feel about this season if they're Alabama fans. Like I said, sports and politics are very similar. The mindsets are similar. Alabama wins. Alabama fans are going to be on cloud nine. It's going to be a happy day. Alabama loses. Just going to be just the opposite. Let's go ahead and take Tom before we hit the break, and then we'll hit the break here on the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline, 205-342-9904. I don't even know if I gave the number this morning, but 205-342-9904. Of course, Tom knows it by heart. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Gary. I do know it by heart, and I really appreciate the fact you'll let us call and interact with you, and I always enjoy the show.
Thanks.
Now, your picks, I find them to be the most entertaining thing, or one of the entertaining things that I watch Tider Insider for. And my wife absolutely adores you and Rodney the way y'all pick. And she thinks it's hilarious that y'all never, ever pick against Alabama. And I have to remind her. I said, it's Alabama. They don't lose much. How much can you pick against them?
Well, I have picked against Alabama. I don't know if Rodney ever has, but I have. And as I said, I've caught a lot of flack for it every time I've ever done it.
But I didn't do that because I agreed with it when you done it. But and I hate to admit that openly, but I did. And anyway, it happened. But anyway, I wanted to say that your picks are fun to listen to, and I enjoy it.
Well, good. I'm glad you do. You know that. And we do have an update. They're scheduled to fix the transmitter this week. And then lo and behold, because, again, you have to have a tower climber. And the winds yesterday were way too strong to go up on that. Hundreds of feet in the air. You know what I mean, Tom? I said the tower, for the TV, an update on the TV transmitter, we've got everything ready to be fixed. But the tower climber can't climb the tower unless it's perfectly calm conditions. You know, you can't go up hundreds of feet in the air on a tower if it's 15, 20 mile an hour winds. So now that's the whole.
Exactly right. I understand. But I will say this: we stream it. Because it's not on
right,
YouTube TV, and the only way we can get it is go to the website and stream it off there.
All right, my friend. You agree? You agree with my pick? You agree with my Alabama over LSU pick?
Yeah, I do. Okay. I don't feel that we're going to win by that much. I do think we'll win, but I agree with your presentation of this game. But here's the thing for me, Gary. I've always done this, and that's right or wrong. It's just me. But our history and our results when we're on the road in Baton Rouge have been phenomenal. And I resort to that. You know, Coach Bryant started way back then. We always seem to find a way to win more than we lose in Baton Rouge. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
And historically influences how I feel about different games down there.
Well, Alabama's owned them down there. I think it's 29, 10, and 3. And,
yeah, but I mean, look on the other side. LSU's the most successful visit team in Bryant Denny.
They are. They've had more success here than anybody else. But I mean,
that's what, to me, that's why this is such an interesting rivalry. It's the success they've had against us at home and the success we've had against them at home. It's crazy.
Yeah, but still, overall, Alabama's got an overall dominant record against them, just like they do against everybody just about in the league. So they have one more here than other teams, but still, they're not in the total record. Alabama here, and of course, a lot of those games for years were played in Birmingham.
But yeah, I agree. But it's still a point, though. You have to agree.
Yeah, Alabama's 56, 27, and 5 all time against LSU head to head. 29, 10, and 3 in Baton Rouge. So, pretty dominant all the way around.
I've got lots of friends that live there, and I'm telling you right now, they'd rather beat Alabama than anybody.
Well, that goes for just about everybody in this league, man.
Yeah.
What we've talked about time and time again. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Vanderbilt's still up there talking about it. They're going to be talking about it for years. I mean, it's just not another win. When you beat Alabama, it trumps just about any win you can have in this league. And the only thing that might be close now is because Kirby hasn't lost to anybody other than Alabama in 4 years. If somebody were to knock off Georgia, that might rival it. But that would be it.
Thanks, Gary.
All right, thank you, Tom. All right, it's 9:20. We'll take a timeout, come back wide open for phone calls in the next segment. Then we've got Matt Coulter on NASCAR coming up at 9:30. This is the Gary Harris Show on Tide 100.9 FM and 1230 AM WTBC.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Wednesday morning. With the elections over, eyes are turning toward the Gulf of Mexico and Hurricane Rafael. The storm is expected to cross Cuba as a Category 2 hurricane, but the National Hurricane Center believes it will rapidly deteriorate once it reaches the Gulf of Mexico on Friday and will have little to no impact on the state of Alabama. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage all throughout the day. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
As much as Innisfree has evolved, it will always be that place to escape and have a good time. Whether it's for a game day weekend, to reminisce on college days, or to create new memories, if you're looking for a good time, there's only one thing to do. Head to the Free at 1925 University Boulevard. And don't forget about the Lucky Lunch Meat and 3 special. Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Get a meat and 3 vegetables for just $8.49. Or for a lighter appetite, try the Lucky Lunch soup, salad, or sandwich combo. I'll see you at the Free. Tuscaloosa's Old Colony Golf Course is an 18-hole championship layout designed by 1976 U.S. Open champion Jerry Pate. Director of Golf John Gray and fitting specialist Bob Montgomery are PGA certified. Mike Shivitz is the head professional and director of the Tuscaloosa Junior Golf Program. Call today to secure a tee time.
Giving away a bottle of Steve Azar's new Bloody Mary Mix. Visit us at Pearl River Resort and put the good in your mornings. Must be 21 or older to play.
Life doesn't wait for when your finances are in perfect order. It just happens. But no matter what surprises come your way, Alabama Credit Union will be here to help make it affordable with great personal loans, mortgages, and auto loans. They offer an easy application process and fast decisions so you can stay focused on feeling good about whatever life brings your way. Alabama Credit Union will be here to help make it affordable with great personal loans, mortgages, and auto loans. Alabama Credit Union, loans for real life. Visit alabamacu.com to learn more. Some rules and restrictions apply. See if you're eligible for membership, then join today and feel good about your money.
You're listening to The Gary Harris Show.
Goal line in, touchdown, Alabama.
On your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9. And streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, 9:23. Welcome back into the Gary Harris Show. The first college football playoff bracket in the 12-team playoff era dropped on Tuesday evening on ESPN. The top four seeds are Oregon 1, Georgia 2, Miami 3, BYU 4. Alabama, if you're wondering, is the 11 seed, and I know you probably aren't because you already know, but Alabama 11 seed right now is projected to play Texas, the 6th seed, in an opening round game. How interesting would that be? But I'm that's as high as Alabama was going to be. So it's perfect that Alabama's in the first round of 12. That basically tells you, in my opinion, that if Alabama wins out, they're going to be in the playoff. BYU is 12. Ohio State is 5. Indiana is 9. Tennessee is 8. Alabama mentioned 11. Texas 6. Notre Dame 10. Penn State 7. So that's your first 12-team college football playoff bracket. Let's talk to Philip out on the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning, Gary. I really enjoyed your opening commentary. That was fantastic to listen to and to think about what you were saying. And, this game this weekend, it's a doggone hard game to pick. I mean, I can see your side. I can see an LSU. It's a very difficult game to pick.
Yeah, it is.
I know one thing. Alabama's got to get to Nussmeier. Got to get to him and make life difficult for him and have the right angles for tackles, and every little detail is going to be important.
Yeah, if you don't get pressure on him, I tell you what he's going to do. He's going to stand back there and pick you apart with surgical precision. He is. He's that kind of thrower. He's that kind of passer, but he's not an athletic guy for the most part. You get pressure on him, you can get to him, you can get him on the ground, you can fluster him. But, yeah, you have to – that's what Texas A&M did such a good job of in the second half of that game, was getting to him. Because if he's able to stand back there and survey the field, and those receivers, Lacey Anderson, those guys, they're that good. They're going to get open, and he's going to find them. So, yeah, you gotta pressure him. You gotta pressure him. You got to get to him. You got to win at the line of scrimmage. And obviously you got to, do like pretty much everybody else has been able to do against them, and that's not let them get a running game going. Because if they were to get a running game going, that would give them some options as well. So you got to shut down the run, and then you got to pressure Nussmeier. And I think if you can do that, you can be effective on defense.
Exactly. I tell you, Gary, the rankings that came out last night, pretty interesting. There's just going to, what people have to realize, and people get all of them up for over where teams are and everything for no reason, because that thing's going to have a lot of upheaval this weekend, I think. You've got several games that, I like Ole Miss to beat Georgia.
Well, you probably won't be the only person that feels that way. I think that there'll be some momentum for Ole Miss. The problem is, how many times has Lane Kiffin been in this position over the last 3 or 4 years at Ole Miss? And every time he's come up short. So maybe this will be the time he breaks through. Every time he's played Alabama, he's lost. Every time he's played Georgia, he's lost. He has not been able to break through and beat one of those teams, which are, traditionally the teams you're going to have to beat to get to Atlanta, or in this case, probably get in the playoffs. So we'll see. Maybe he breaks through. I'm leaning toward Georgia just because Kirby has been there and done that so many times, and Kiffin hasn't. And like I said, it's literally been 2020 since anybody other than Alabama has beaten Georgia. But if Ole Miss beats them, it'll be a huge win. And, I'm just going to tell you, if Alabama's able to beat LSU, it'll be better for Alabama if Georgia wins that game in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's right.
Because if Ole Miss wins, that's going to catapult them in terms of the playoff. So,
no doubt about it.
But we'll see. It'll be an interesting game over in Oxford Saturday afternoon, and And for Alabama, Saturday night and LSU, two games that are going to have a lot of viewership.
Yep, that's right. I'll tell you another game I've got my eye on. I think could get kind of wonky, and that's Washington upsetting Penn State. I think they can do it.
Yeah, that's a good one to look at. I think Penn State could have a little bit of a hangover after Ohio State, because you're talking about James Franklin is Lane Kiffin to the 10th degree. I mean, he's been doing this for a long time and hadn't been able to get past Ohio State and Michigan, so for the most part. So, yeah, they better be on upset alert. But I think everybody's on upset alert every week now, Philip. It's just the way the game of football is, man. If you're not ready to go that Saturday, you can get beat. So I think the team for me that's and granted they've actually caught a nice schedule in the Big Ten, but what Cignetti has done in Indiana this year is just off the chains. For me, there's no even, and I know Mario Cristobal has done some good things and Lanning, but to me, there's no even any discussion who the coach of the year is. You know, Cignetti, what he's done in Indiana is just mind-boggling.
Right. I'll tell you what I like about him, Gary, is he's got a great personality.
He does.
And I didn't really know that. You know, I didn't know that much about him. I knew he coached at Alabama with Saban, but he's got a really interesting personality. He's fun as heck to listen to.
He really is. He really is.
Good guy. And, you know, and they've got to be ready this weekend. They've got a sort of a, you know, Michigan's got to be hungry for something good to happen. And what a perfect thing to do than to beat Indiana if you're Michigan.
Good point. Great point.
Yep.
All right, Philip.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, buddy. All right, 9:30, we're going to take time out. And before we do, I do want to mention to you, Bama football trivia giveaway Friday at Innisfree Irish Pub. T-Town Menswear and T-Town Gallery in University Mall sponsors our contest. Fridays at the Free, so I'll be back on location for the Friday show, and we'll be doing that trivia contest and giving away another awesome print. I don't know what we're giving away yet this week. Tom is actually going to email me a picture of the print that we're going to give away, so I'll let you know. And but that's coming up Friday. Friday's at the Free, and Bama football trivia.
She's bundled her home and auto insurance with Progressive. Swish Ace Savings TKO.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Los Tarascos has been serving Mexican favorites like burritos, fajitas, and quesadillas since 1999. Their new location is at 4100 Owen Parkway in Northport. And, of course, you can find Los Tarascos in Tuscaloosa at 110 Skyland Boulevard. The bar areas feature big screen television so you can enjoy your favorite sporting events. Los Tarascos features daily happy hour specials. And for the best Mexican cuisine in West Alabama, remember, the name is Los Tarascos with locations in Tuscaloosa and Northport.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits could be at risk. Here's how you can protect yourself and your benefits. Never respond to mail notifying you of a false claim in your name. Never answer a text message asking you to verify your account. And only respond to official Alabama Department of Labor's social media pages. Report fraud at labor.alabama.gov/fraud. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Labor, ABA, and the station. The Alabama Department of Labor is an equal opportunity employer program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request to individuals with disabilities. Dial 711 for TTY accessibility.
Since 2011, Billy's Sports Grill, located on Main Avenue in historic downtown Northport, has been serving their legendary signature chicken sandwich, award-winning wings, and handcrafted cocktails. Billy's is also the spot to watch all your favorite sporting events with big screen, high-definition televisions, both dining rooms, at the bar, and outside on the beautiful patio. Come by and say hello to Kim and Lisa, the Billy's Management Dream Team. Billy's, good food, good friends, and good time.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky cloudy at times today and tonight. We'll have the chance of a few scattered showers around. The high today 77, tonight's low 64. Tomorrow and Thursday mostly cloudy. A chance of showers and storms both days. Highs between 75 and 78. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 72 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Your home for Alabama Crimson Tide football. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, 9:33. It's time for Matt Coulter on NASCAR, and I'm excited about this segment. The Final Four is set for Phoenix. Ryan Blaney, defending champion, two-time champion Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick, and William Byron. Of course, I'm taking a victory lap after picking my 6th winner. And Matt, good morning. I thought that was a gutsy pick coming back with Blaney on the short track after he blew the race at Miami Homestead the week before. And he had to win to get into the Final Four, and he did it.
Yep, he did it, and he drove his butt off to get there. Congratulations. You've owned me this season. 6 wins any years. And that's a great season. So congrats on that. Now I guess we'll just kind of have to figure out who's going to win it all. But first, just talk a little bit more about the race. What'd you think? I thought it was a great race.
Listen, I've been thinking all week because I've been so fired up about this season. And the reason I have you on here is you understand a lot more about the inner workings of NASCAR. And I admit it, I still don't know really how it works. But I know this. We get to a Final Four, and now I see people groaning and moaning and running around out there about Kyle Larson's got 6 wins. Why isn't he in the Final Four? And even NASCAR, former NASCAR drivers and analysts, questioning listen, the playoffs are the playoffs. I don't even necessarily agree with how they do it. But, Matt, the best team doesn't always win the World Series. The best team doesn't always win the Super Bowl. Once you get to the playoffs, it's a brand new season. And it's the same thing in NASCAR. So I get a little ticked off when people are complaining about, okay, it's really not a Final Four if Kyle Larson isn't. Yeah, it is. He had a chance to get in like anybody else. He didn't win the races that he needed to win. We see it all the time. We saw the Braves, all those great teams that the Braves had and couldn't win the World Series. And that team a few years ago, I think, won 88 games, Matt, and won the World Series. The playoffs are different than the regular season. So I want you to react to that. My biggest takeaway is all the moaning and groaning now because people aren't happy with the Final Four and want to say, well, this guy should have a guaranteed spot in the Final Four because he won 6 races. Well, not really.
No, you can't do that. I mean, it's set up with a different format. All playoffs, all postseasons are. Look at golf. Look at the FedEx Cup. Does the best golfer of the year always win the FedEx Cup? No. Does the best golfer always win the Masters? No. I mean, it's just somebody's always going to be hacked off, Gary. You know, the way we are in society today, somebody's going to find something wrong with something. But,
well, first of all, Tyler Reddick was the regular season champion, and he made it. It wasn't Kyle Larson. It was Tyler Reddick. And you've got a 2-time champion. You've got a defending champion. You've got the regular season champion, and you've got a guy in William Byron from a power team that, I think it's a great Final Four. I'm miffed at the number of people who are saying, well, it doesn't have the star power. It doesn't have the best drivers. And I get it. You're unhappy if your driver didn't make it into the Final Four, but I think it's a terrific Final Four, Matt.
I like it. I like the young guys being in there with the veterans. I love what Penske does in postseason. Man, they're good. But I'm not focusing on the fact that Larson isn't in it or anybody else that you think should be in it. It's the Final Four. Let's crank up the engines on Sunday afternoon and let it go. But like I said, for the third time, people are just going to find some reason to gripe about it. That's your privilege. Go ahead, gripe about it, but not to me. I'm not going to put up with it.
Well, I know this. It's been an exciting season, and these last few races have been unbelievable. And the theater at Martinsville, and let's talk about Blaney for what he was able to do. He did blow the race at Miami Homestead. He blew it, and he got called out on it. I mean, he was called stupid, and he owned it. He said after the win at Martinsville that he gave it away. But to come back on a short track and pass as many cars as he did over the last, however many laps of that race to win that race, he's the defending champion. He's a top tier driver, man. I mean, you always talk about guys that can drive it on different types of tracks. Blaney's one of those guys. He can win on a super speedway. He can win on a short track. He can win on an intermediate. I think he right now he's in that conversation, especially if he goes back to back. He's in the conversation for best driver out there with Larson, with maybe a few others. I think he's in the conversation.
I would agree 100%. He's proved it this year with the tracks that he's won on, and he just won on a really, really, really tough track. That half mile swapping all that paint. And then, under pressure, the 12 had to come down the stretch and he passed Byron. Byron led for a long time.
He passed everybody. He passed about 7 cars.
Elliott led for a long time, and that's a very difficult track to pass on because for one thing, there's lap traffic everywhere. It's a half-mile track, so you're not going to avoid that. It's not like at Talladega where you can get away from the pack. You can't. The pack's all the way around the track.
Right.
So, kudos to him and to Penske and really all 4 drivers because they set it up for a good finals on Sunday.
Well, they really have, and you mentioned Penske and their ability at playoff time is remarkable. With how they work together and can get to this point. But give us I know we wish that it was at Miami Homestead, but it's at Phoenix. Give us the track report on Phoenix.
It's a mile track, obviously 4 turns. It's not banked. They race Indy there. One of the reasons why it's not banked, I think at its highest point coming through the dog leg, it might be 11 degrees, but most of it's like 2 and 3 degrees, which is hardly anything. So it's that, and as you well know, since we've been doing this show, that track is owned by Kevin Harvick. Harvick's won 9 times.
Yeah,
Phoenix, and I'm pretty sure we probably both picked up a couple of wins in our little contest by picking Harvick.
Yeah,
Phoenix. But he's the dominant driver there, and always will. I don't know, 9 races, a lot. But anyway, we got to pick this weekend. So, and I'm not sure.
Jeff just sent it and said I've got the first pick, and I can tell you right. Well, I'm going Penske. I can tell you that right now. Question is,
tell you, it's not even just one Penske. You're going Blaney. You're going the 12.
Well, I'm not.
Really?
I'm. Listen, it's an even year. The 22 was fortunate to get into the final 8, as we know, with Bowman being disqualified. He took advantage of it immediately. He's been laying low these last couple races, positioning himself to have everything line up perfectly. I really like Blaney. I agree. And listen, and I like the other 2 as well. I mean, I definitely think the winner's coming from the Final 4. I think the winner of the race is going to be one of these playoff guys. I can make a case for Reddick. I can make a case for Byron as well. And certainly I made a case for Blaney. But I'm taking the 22. I mean, when he got in and he won right off the bat, I saw an interview with him. I think it was with Harvick. It was either Harvick or Dale Jr., and he just laid it out that we're set. We are set. We now can immediately start working toward setup and everything that we do to be successful when we get to Phoenix. And you got the Penske support. So I'll leave you. If you want to take Blaney, you're going to have him because I'm taking the 22. I'm taking Logano to win his 3rd championship. How about that?
Well, I gave a lot of thought to taking Tyler Reddick just because he's so young, so talented,
absolutely,
and so proven on all of these tracks.
Absolutely.
And then I spun the wheel again, and I said, he's going to take Blaney, so then I've got to make sure. I'll take Blaney if you're going to leave him out there.
I'm going to leave him out there.
Jump in the draft.
I'm gonna leave him out there. And, here's the thing, too. It's going to be so interesting. Of course, all the – here's the deal, because Blaney said it this week, talking about Penske. One reason they're so successful, he says he doesn't think that – he said, of course, it starts with the captain, Roger Penske, legendary name in motorsports. And he just said the organization that he runs, he said nobody he thinks works better among these power teams than Penske. It's sharing information, at being on the same page, drivers working together. But listen, it's every man for themselves in this race now. I mean, even Roger Penske, I think, understands that. Logano and Blaney will not be looking to protect each other here. They're going to look to win.
No.
So it's going to, I threw you a curveball. I knew you probably figured I'd take the 12. But I feel strongly that the 22 in this position is going to close it out and get his 3rd. If he gets the 3rd championship, that's rarefied air, Matt.
That is elite company, to say the very least. But to win back-to-back would
be huge too. And then we didn't even mention William Byron, and you know what kind of team he's got, and Daytona 500 winner. And now let's get back to that before we. There is some controversy with Christopher Bell and Byron in that final spot. First of all, Toyota drivers were running interference for Toyota. Chevrolet drivers were running interference for Chevrolet. That's been proven. Radio transmissions are out there, and I do think, in fact, there's been some fines levied. But then Byron, why he did not get in? Bell did not get in. Was they said he rode the wall. That was put in after Ross Chastain. His point was, I got into the wall. I didn't purposely ride the wall. What did you think of the ruling and all the stuff that went on between the Chevrolet teams and the Toyota teams, the manipulation that went on, and is that an issue that needs to be addressed?
I don't think so. But they've been battling with manufacturers forever. Are you going to take that away and start fining the teams? I don't think so. I did find the radio broadcast to be incredibly compelling.
Yeah.
Telling them you were 1 point. They were so detailed. I'm thinking, good grief. These guys have got to think of a lot of stuff. But he may have said he didn't ride the wall. In my opinion, he did.
Well, NASCAR obviously thought so, but here it is. Yeah. NASCAR. Let's see. I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find the exact penalties that were dropped. Yeah, here it is. NASCAR issues major penalties to 3 Cup Series teams after Martinsville. And I hadn't even read the story yet, but NASCAR penalized the 1, 3, and 23 Cup Series teams for member conduct violations during Sunday's race at Martinsville. So that's Ross Chastain, Austin Dillon, and Bubba Wallace. Each hit with a loss of 50 driver points and a $100,000 fine. NASCAR also fined the owners of each team $100,000 and deducted 50 owners' points. That's pretty serious.
Yeah, that's pretty massive. Those are pretty hefty fines.
Yeah, and all 3 teams, Richard Childress, 2311, and Trackhouse, announced that they would appeal the ruling. So,
well, they probably will, and we'll find out around Christmas. I was getting frustrated about how long it's taken them to make the decision between the 4 and the 5, and then I started thinking, all those radio transmissions, all those different video views. Then I finally said, well, I'm glad they were able to do it in short amount of time as they did. But that was pins and needles for those 2 drivers for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm sitting here reading that story about the.
Yeah, but it was fun. Fun to watch. Believe it or not, it's kind of fun to wait and see what they were going to do.
Yeah,
I had to flip back over and see about Packers. That gave me something to do and something to yell about. But anyway, that's the NFL. We'll talk about it later.
Well, overall, and we got the one race to go. It's, you and I cover it every week here, one of the few shows that do that. So obviously we pay attention to every race. It's been a compelling season. There's been drama.
Yeah.
There's been controversy. There's been fines. There's been race winners later disqualified. There's been a little bit of everything in this season. It's been fun. I'll say that. It's been one of the funnest NASCAR seasons that I can remember in some time.
Me too. And it only makes me think that 2025 might be even better. I'll ask you this, though, closing out. Do you think they'll change the format? Tweak it?
They've done it a lot in the past. I don't know. I've still never quite understood how it works, but this type of excitement that it's brought, I don't know. What Harvick was saying was that you should reward, like in his case, Larson. Although again, Reddick was actually the regular season winner, but what Harvick was saying was the regular season winner should automatically have a spot in the Final 4. And the second place winner should automatically have a spot in the Final 8. And this third place driver should have a spot in the 12 and the 4th and the 16. And then you round it out. So maybe you could look at that, but I don't know if you're the regular season winner and you've already got your spot in the Final 4, where's the incentive to drive hard? I don't know. I don't know. It worked out pretty well for me. I know we went into that final race with a lot of excitement, and it I like it. I like the way it's played out. Now these Final Four are going to go run. I mean, it's been fantastic season. And we're going to have, unless Kyle Busch wins at Phoenix, we're going to have his win streak come to an end.
That's another thing that made the season interesting.
Yeah, how bad they've been.
I know. I think he'll definitely be back next year, but if he has another season like that, I don't know what Busch is going to do.
Well, if he has another season like that, he's going to try to look to find another team, I think. But I don't even know what his contract looks like with Childress, but
I don't either.
It was not a good year. Tough year for Rich Childress Racing, period. You know, Austin Dillon got the win where he wrecked Logano, and they took it away from him. So crazy.
It's been a great year, Gary. I appreciate the fact that you still do this show.
Yeah. All right. Well, tell us, you got Alabama coverage on Saturday.
Yeah, we will be on with our pregame from 1:30 to 3:30, and then our postgame. It's too late to do the show at Walk-On. Our other show is sponsored by Grandstand, but that's going to be late after Grandstand closed. So we'll be up late. We're talking to Alabama LSU, but and you never know what you're going to get with this one. You used to. Alabama went to Baton Rouge, they won. And I think they'll win again. What will you wait and make your pick?
No, I made it on TITV last night. I got Alabama 31, LSU 24.
Well, I hope that happens because they're in the playoffs now if they just maintain their position, you know.
That's right. Just got to go win. All right, thank you, Matt.
Hey, absolutely.
All right, Matt Coulter on NASCAR. 9:51 here on the Gary Harris Show. And holidays are coming up fast, man. I mean, they're on us. And if you want your house to look its best, Houston Hydro Steam and carpet cleaning will do it for you. I mean, they just absolutely will make it look like $1 million. Carpet, hardwood floors, bathrooms. Houston Hydro Steam has been serving the Tuscaloosa area for 40 years, providing the best carpet and upholstery steam cleaning services to thousands of homes and businesses. Quality work you can stand on. Call Jackie Houston, 205-553-9460, or find out more at HoustonHydroSteam.com. Houston Hydro Steam, free estimates and quality work that you can stand on. Get your house looking its best for the holidays. All right, we'll be back to wrap up the first hour of the Gary Harris Show here on Tide 100.9 FM and 1230 AM, WTBC, your home for Alabama sports.
If you haven't already, you've got to try Tuscaloosa's unique breakfast, brunch, and lunch concept. Brick and Spoon, downtown Tuscaloosa, Timerson Square. It's fresh food with a Cajun flair featuring a full bar with build-your-own Bloody Marys and mimosas. Open daily, 7 a.m. until 2 p.m. Available for
at First and Main. Visit firstandmaincondos.com or call 205-657-7465. Mention you heard about us on the radio and receive 1 month free rent.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky cloudy at times today and tonight. We'll have the chance of a few scattered showers around. The high today 77, tonight's low 64. Tomorrow and Thursday mostly cloudy, a chance of showers and storms both days. Highs between 75 and 78. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3240 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 72 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Covering University of Alabama sports, as well as the national and local scene as well. The Gary Harris Show, only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, 9:56. Going to wrap it up for hour one of the Gary Harris Show. It's been brought to you by Alabama Credit Union, member-owned and not-for-profit. It's just a better way of banking. Hour number 2 coming up. Barbie Perry from the Bama Against Bullying fashion show is going to lead us off. Larry, the Music Man, at 10:30. Plenty of time to talk more Alabama LSU. This is a tough prediction. There's a lot of people picking Bama, a lot of people picking LSU. Going to be a good, hard-fought football game Saturday night down the Bayou. Everything's at stake for the Tide. You win this game, you're set up well for the playoff. You lose, probably not going playoffing. Just the way it is. All right, that's going to wrap it up for hour number 1. Gary Harris Show will continue in hour number 2 right here on Tide 100.9 FM and 1230 AM WTBC, your home for Alabama sports.
Fair pricing is what we do. Tailor Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits could be at risk. Here's how you can protect yourself and your benefits. Never respond to mail notifying you of a false claim in your name. Never answer a text message asking you to verify your account. And only respond to official Alabama Department of Labor's social media pages. Report fraud at labor.alabama.gov/fraud. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Labor, ABA, and the station. The Alabama Department of Labor is an equal opportunity employer program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request to individuals with disabilities. Dial 711 for TTY accessibility.
365, 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow truck, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's Move Over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the roadside.
Visit us now to save big and discover why so many are switching to BMW. BMW of Tuscaloosa. Take your dreams for a drive.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Kevin Wyatt.
NFL news this morning. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones appeared on 105.3 FM The Fan in Dallas and announced that quarterback Dak Prescott will be out for some time.
It's extended period of time here, so I wouldn't dare make a prediction when it could be. It's likely we'll IR him, so we'll see kind of how his rehab goes.
Injured reserve would have Prescott miss at least the next 4 games. The Cowboys making a trade this morning, acquiring Panthers wide receiver Jonathan Mingo in exchange for a 4th-round selection. The Detroit Lions are acquiring Browns pass rusher Zadarius Smith. They'll also get a 2026 7th-round pick in exchange for a 2025 5th-round pick and a 2026 6th-round selection. And Khalil Herbert going from the Bears to the Bengals.
The Gary Harris Show. UCM host Tider Insider TV. Crimson Tide Kickoff. Play-by-play for Alabama sports and sports director for WVUA 23. It's time for the Gary Harris Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, hour number 2 of the Gary Harris Show for this Wednesday, November 6, 2024. The day after our presidential election, and it's not official, but projected that Donald Trump will be the 47th president, returning to the office that he held from 2016 to 2020. All right, we are going to start off this hour with Barbie Perry, who is going to be hosting, along with Chelsea Barton, the 9th annual Bama Against Bullying fashion show coming up this Sunday, a big fundraiser, quite an event. It's a special event. Barbie was in studio with us last year to promote it. She joins us this morning on the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline. Good morning, Barbie.
Good morning, Gary. How are you this morning?
Doing great. Good to have you. This is a huge event that has all type of performers and modeling. It's going to be at the Tuscaloosa River Market this Sunday. And, of course, the cause is great as well. Just kind of pick up from where I've kind of led you and what all is going to be coming up on Sunday.
All right. Yes. No, this is definitely going to be the biggest event yet. We have just, you know, what's beautiful to see is when the whole community comes together for such an important cause. Like, that is the most amazing feeling, because yes, the event is fun and all, but let's remember why we're doing this. Let's remember the cost of this. And, unfortunately, I just had a situation with my own son happen this past week. And, I want to be the voice for, other parents to understand what kind of bullying is being out there now. I mean, we're living in a different world.
Kind of a lot of cyberbullying, right, Barbie? A lot of cyberbullying.
Yes, cyberbullying on another level. And I really feel that parents need to be just enlightened and educated. And so when they leave this event, they're going to leave with something. We're bringing in an amazing speaker. She is nationwide. She speaks at different colleges and NFL teams, athletes all over the country. She goes to jail. She's been to the Border Patrol. I mean, she has spoken all over, and she's coming here as well, Rachel Barbeau, with a message. We're going to give out some tools. So when parents leave out of there, they're going to feel not only enlightened, but just, ready to take on whatever comes to them when it comes to bullying. So, it's going to be an amazing event. I mean, all around, it's just, the fashion by, all the top boutiques in town, Lavish, Part 2, Zaria, Everhaze, Pause, Bossy, the Pants Store, the Shirt Shop. I mean, these are all, businesses that are, that thrive here and people love. So amazing models, all ages, all walks of life, different cities, from Birmingham to Tuscaloosa. So we've really brought this together, as a Birmingham Tuscaloosa type event. And not only that, involving like the Alabama Crimsonettes, they're going to be their Big Owl, the Riptide Dance Crew. It's just going to be so incredible. I'm just so excited that this is coming up already.
Yeah, I'm just looking over the flyer. It is unbelievable. All the different performers, artists, a DJ, as you said, the models. Doors open at 5:30. The show starts at 7 o'clock. Big Al will be there. Taco truck and selfie stations. And again, proceeds to benefit BamaAgainstBullying.org, Tuscaloosa City and County Schools anti-bullying programs. Nick's Kids is involved. Great sponsors. I know you're a big part of this, obviously. Are you? I know you're pleased. Are you surprised at all at how this has taken off and how big this has become?
It just really shows how important it is, and the voice, continues to grow because unfortunately, we still have been losing lives over this, and so we just really need to understand how important it is to just come together and as families, as parents, as teachers, as schools, and understand really the importance of this and just really come support, come have an amazing night. Of course, Jackson Chase will be there. He was in your show with me last year. He's absolutely incredible. Matt McCracken as well. Elena Burt also, she is the 2023 Miss Alabama teen. So she's also going to be speaking, and I just love what this event does. When you leave that place, you're just going to leave with such a different view on everything, but you're going to feel enlightened and just love because it's just ultimately we're there to support each other and to, try to win this fight.
And you've got Rachel Barbeau and Elena Burt as guest speakers. Rachel's a friend of mine, and I've had her, known her in the media business and had her on my show, and she is a great speaker, empowering women.
She is incredible.
Yeah.
Yes, she is, she's like my we call each other sisters because we just really, ever since she lives in Tuscaloosa, she's the godmama to my my kids, and it's just an amazing thing what she's created. I've seen it all develop, and what she's done with it. It's just absolutely, she's my mentor, I just look up to her so much. So, having her here is definitely very, very special to me.
Barbie Perry with us, talking about the 9th annual Bama Against Bullying Fashion Show coming up this Sunday at the Tuscaloosa River Market. Doors open at 5:30. Show starts at 7 o'clock. All right, you've got that South Florida influence, and that's another thing about this show. It's got that South Florida, Miami, South Beach flair, too. No, it really does. It's even the flyer. It just screams, Miami, South Beach, and that's a compliment because it brings some flair to Tuscaloosa. Just as we said, obviously it's a great cause, but the entertainment aspect of this is not something that we traditionally see in Tuscaloosa.
Exactly. And that's the whole point of the show, is just really, we create awareness about bullying via the arts. So this is big to us. It's combining all the different types of arts to really have that message heard and just, bring it to the next level and just have him just be a part of it in any way, like the sponsors. Like, I could not do this without my sponsors. Dustin with Elite Productions. He does an amazing job as DJ, and he's been with us from the get-go, from the start, from the first year. So it's just special to me that these people continue to just stay with us and grow with us. I have models that have started with us when they were like little girls, and now they've gone to college. So then, unfortunately, this year they can't be a part of it, So then other little ones start and they grow with this event. So it's just beautiful to see and beautiful just to know that people come together and, for such an important cause. And it's going to be so fun. I'm so excited. Everybody needs to be there.
All right, Barbie, fill us in on where, how much are tickets and where can people get them?
Okay, so tickets are $25. You can either go on any of our social media, on Facebook, on Instagram. There's a link there in the bio. You can go, it'll take you to the tickets, or you can go to bamagainstbullying.org. You can find the link in there as well. And, we're going to be doing, amazing raffles. We're also going to have, a few of Nick Saban's signed, autographs, a football, a hat, a picture that we're going to be auctioning off. So we're going to have selfie stations, it's just amazing. All together, I feel like this is going to be the big one, So I hope that everybody can make it there. Doors open at 5:30. Big Al will be there starting from 6:20 till the event starts. So if you want to come and meet him and take a picture, make sure that you're there around that time. Dress to impress, wear your nice outfit. We're going to have the red carpet, the selfie stations, the 360 photo booth. Oh, it's going to be awesome. So I hope you can make it, Gary.
Well, I tell you what, I might give you a call before the show here and find out if I can, get an opportunity to come. I mentioned, too, you're hosting along with my good friend Chelsea Barton, so I know she loves this event, and two of you together will be phenomenal, too.
Oh, my God, I'm so excited. You have no idea. She is definitely one of my favorite people in the city, and she just does such an amazing job and really representing what Tuscaloosa is on another level, And so the fact that she's been she's a part of it this year again, and we're going to do it together. I'm super pumped.
Well, I am too. It's a big time event here for Tuscaloosa, and folks, it's a great cause. But the great cause aside, like I said, just from an entertainment standpoint, if you want to be entertained on a Sunday evening and see some things that, in terms of fashion and modeling and entertainment that you aren't accustomed to seeing here in West Alabama, this is your opportunity. Sunday evening, doors open at 5:30. Show starts at 7 o'clock at the Tuscaloosa River Market. Thank you so much, Barbie.
Oh, my God. Thank you so much, Gary. And I hope to see you there and hope to see everybody there.
All right. Thank you very much. Barbie Perry, 9th Annual Bama Against Bullying Fashion Show coming up this Sunday at the Tuscaloosa River Market. All right, 12 minutes after the hour, 10 o'clock. Next segment, we're wide open for phone calls. We are wide open until 10:30 with Larry the Music Man. Of course, we'll be wide open with Larry the Music Man. We've been getting more calls for his segment than just about, because we've opened it up to calls to talk about music. And but in the next segment, sports-wise, wide open. I am going to also, if we don't get calls, get to some audio from Jalen Milroe, Alabama quarterback who met with the media yesterday following practice. Always interested in hearing
candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky cloudy at times today and tonight. We'll have the chance of a few scattered showers around. The high today 77, tonight's low 64. Tomorrow and Thursday mostly cloudy. A chance of showers and storms both days. Highs between 75 and 78. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 73 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Need to know what's going on with the Crimson Tide? Then subscribe to our YouTube channel for exclusive content on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
8:16. Welcome back into the Gary Harris Show here on Tide 100.9 FM and 1230 AM WTBC. Phone lines are open on the Pinnacle Park and North River Hotline 205-342-9904. Right now, we're going to get to some audio from Jalen Milroe, Alabama quarterback. Yesterday, following practice, met with the media, and here's some of what he had to say on Tuesday.
How did you pick number 4?
Huh? My birthday, December 13th, so you just add 1 and 3, and then you got 4. So, yeah, I chose that when I was younger. One of my coaches growing up, Jacoby Walker, he introduced me to 4. He told me, you should be 4. And he was like, you know, how many quarters are in a game? 4. And then who they look to to lead a whole football game? It's 4. So it was those two things. So my birthday and then that situation.
You were 2 to start, right?
Yep, but B-Rob had 4, so I couldn't get it.
Were you kind of disappointed at first? Were you kind of disappointed at first?
Well, then I was like, I'm going to be even more clever with 3 minus 1, 2. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do that. Yeah. No, that's really what happened. Yeah.
Obviously, the LSU game last year was kind of a big moment, right? What does it, I guess, feel like coming in this time, knowing kind of how it feels like on the field against LSU? Obviously, it's going to be a different environment, but like how are you feeling at this point in terms of ahead of this rivalry, knowing what it's been like?
Well, I'll say I respect our opponent. They are definitely a great, better defense than they were last year. A lot of great guys up front and defensive line. 2 edge rushers that are really disruptive. In the backfield, they have a lot of disciplined guys in the backers, in the backcourt. They do a really good job flowing to the ball, run downhill, physical guys, great eye discipline. Then you have secondary, who's very lengthy. They have great range on the football. So it's definitely a defense that's really talented. They have a lot of disruptive plays throughout this whole season. And so for us, it's all about, preparing the right way, starting out fast, being great communicators on the road. And then we expect, just to be a tough opponent because they definitely have a great defense. And it's evident, as we game plan, as we watch film on these guys, and they're constantly just growing as a group when it comes to confidence, and then also we're just mastering their game plan.
Obviously, it's a weedy game every single time you guys play. But, I mean, do you feel that? I mean, what does it feel like knowing that you've had success against them before, but also knowing that, there's a little bit more heft to this game because of, larger implications?
No, absolutely. I think for us, we just have to have confidence going in our preparation because that's going to factor into the game with our preparation, our mindset, and as we approach this game, because it's going to be so important, especially with external factors when it comes to pouring into the stadium, and just this belief system between the guys in the locker room and also our coaching staff as we implement our game plan and as we just constantly just grow throughout the whole time. So I think that's so important for us as we move forward and prepare for LSU.
What do you think about what Marcel Reed and what he was able to do against LSU? What kind of stood out about his performance?
Number one, I'm proud of him. That's definitely a great performance on his end, being prepared to go in and play. He did a really good job of running the football in the game. He was effective against their defense, and I'm proud of his performance and how he played, and just his grit, his determination, and just leading the guys for a win. That's a hard opponent to play against LSU, and then him stepping in and leading the guys, and then getting everybody on the same page to win the football game. So, that was definitely something that I acknowledged watching the game, and I'm definitely proud of his performance and him just stepping in and being ready to go.
Can you take anything from that in your approach?
Yeah, it's just hard for any defense to go against a running quarterback. There's so much thing that they have to look at when it comes to stopping a quarterback and throw and pass the football. And that's just hard for any defense to go against, no matter if it's LSU or no matter what opponent it is. It's just hard for any defense to stop the element of the pass and run.
Can you just talk about the element of the crowd and the environment that's going to be in Death Valley? Can you just talk about how any coaches or any players just that have played there have been trying to prepare you guys? I know you played LSU before, but it was here at Bryant-Denny, but just being there at Death Valley, can you just talk about how any...
So I had an experience 2 years ago. We played at LSU on the road, and it's definitely a place that external factors is at a high. when it comes to their crowd noise, when it comes to the fans impacting the game as much as possible. Also, just the energy that's poured into the stadium. So for us, when you playing games like this on the road, it's all about being a great communicator, being all on the same page, starting fast, all being on the same page. And when we simplify the game into those key components, that allow us to elevate our game and allow us to be prepared as much as possible. But the biggest thing we try to do is eliminate bad plays, eliminate miscommunication, and just try to be all on the same page so that we can be our best us. And that's what's going to allow us to be our best us, being on the same page and having the right mindset.
All right, some good stuff there from Jalen Milroe, Alabama quarterback. Right now, we're going to jump out on the Pinnacle Park and North River hotline, 205-342-9904, and that's where we find a great listener to the show, Curtis, from down in Florida. Hey, Curtis.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, good to hear from you, buddy.
Oh, good. Hey, I'm gonna be real quick.
Okay. You don't have to be quick.
When is when is the Orlando Ledbetter going to come on talk some Falcons?
Yeah, he's on tomorrow. He's on tomorrow at 10 o'clock every Thursday.
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't hear. I thought I know you have Ellis Johnson.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
Ellis is on at 9:30. Orlando's on at 10 tomorrow. Yep.
Oh, okay. And then one more thing, man, regarding the game this weekend, of course. Hey, do you believe the biggest X factor for the game is because LSU, I believe they have a really great offensive line, and they keep Nussmeier, upright. Do you believe that our defensive line, getting pressure on Nussmeier is really the big X factor?
And it's critical.
I mean,
it's the thing that has to happen if Alabama's going to win the game. Nussmeier is a really good quarterback. And he's an outstanding, accurate passer. As I said earlier, if you let him sit back there and survey the field, he is going to slice you up with surgical precision. But pressure bursts pipes, and it also makes quarterbacks ineffective. He is not going to be a guy that's going to extend plays the way that Milroe can. He's not going to take off. If he takes off to run, he's going to try to get 4 or 5 yards and slide. He's not going to be looking to go 30 or 40 or 50 yards. You have to pressure him. And ideally, you'd like to be able to pressure him with your front, with not having to blitz and be able to play coverage in the back end. But if you can't, then you got to figure out a way to send some blitzes to get heat on him, because if you give him time, and their receivers are quality receivers, and he can survey that field, especially with the receivers and also the tight end Taylor, who's a dynamic player, they're going to pick you apart. They're going to go down the field and score touchdowns. So I think it is for the Alabama defense, it is the most critical aspect of the game. And I think on the other side of the ball, I think Alabama needs to be able to run the football. And I'm not talking about just with Jalen and perimeter runs. I'm talking about like they did against Missouri with those running backs between the tackles, getting yards, making first downs, and keeping LSU's offense off the field. So, Curtis, I think you're right on it. If they don't pressure Nussmeier, it could be a long night.
Yeah, you know how Kane kind of comes out with that 4-3-4. Sometimes I see him come out with that.
Yeah,
sometimes.
they he's always been a 4-2-5 guy, but they have tweaked it some. They have played more 3 linebacker looks, and they've changed their front some too, even odd. I think they're trying to mix it up, and I do think there's been a big emphasis on the defensive line being more disruptive, and I think they've gotten more disruptive. I thought the defensive line, the game they played against Missouri, was their best game of the year. So hopefully that will carry over.
Definitely. And you know how Jalen is after buys. Ever since he's been there, we're going back to last year. He's been excellent.
Well,
man.
yeah, and I hope, Alabama this year coming off the bye absolutely blitzed Georgia in that first quarter. So you hope that they've got a similar type of start in this game in Baton Rouge and can jump out early and get a lead. It's always, more fun to play with a lead than it is when you're in chase mode. They got in chase mode against Vanderbilt and just never really could catch up. So they need to get out to a fast start, and if they play well, I think they're going to win the game. But if they go down there and do the same thing they did at Tennessee and Vanderbilt with penalties and with mental errors and losing their cool, they're going to lose. So I'm also looking to see how much this team has learned from their 2 losses on the road and see if they can apply what they've learned and avoid some of the similar type of missteps in this game. That'll be a big That's a big coaching point for me. Can you take the failures that you had at Tennessee and Vanderbilt and apply them to this game and make sure you don't have the same mistakes?
Exactly. That's the name of the game. You hit it right on the nail on the head. Well, I ain't going to hold you up, man. I'll keep on listening. You know me. Looking forward to the next segment.
Good to hear from you, my friend. Don't be a stranger. Call back anytime.
Okay, we'll do.
All right. It is 10:27 here on the Gary Harris Show. And we're going to go ahead and get to our break because the Larry the Music Man segment has become so popular and we get so many calls that want to make sure we have maximum time for him. So we'll go ahead and hit the break.
You got with a damp crawl space or a crack in your foundation. They even do pest control and lawn care. Full service Alabama Professional Services at alabamaprofessional.com.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits could be at risk. Here's how you can protect yourself and your benefits. Never respond to mail notifying you of a false claim in your name. Never answer a text message asking you to verify your account. And only respond to official Alabama Department of Labor's social media pages. Report fraud at labor.alabama.gov/fraud. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Labor, ABA, and the station. The Alabama Department of Labor is an equal opportunity employer program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request to individuals with disabilities. Dial 711 for TTY accessibility.
You see him on WVUA 23 covering sports and on Tider Insider TV on Tuesday nights. Don't miss a minute of the Gary Harris Show. Weekdays from 9 to 11 on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back into the Gary Harris Show. It's time for Larry the Music Man from Atlanta, Georgia. Good morning, Larry. You recognize that tune?
I do, brother. Man, you right on key today with some of the stuff I wanted to talk about. It was a long night last night. I stayed up pretty late, but I took me a little nap this morning. So
all right. Well, I'm glad you got refreshed. Maybe that Jackie Blue from the Ozark Mountain Daredevils made you feel a little better.
They're considered, when you talk about Southern rock, people forget about them.
Yep, they do.
Now, that was such a great intro, man. That was a good album too.
Really is. Yeah, I'm with you. Well, what you got? What's the theme this morning? And by the way, folks, if you want to call and talk to Larry, 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. If you want to talk a little bit Southern music with Larry the Music Man, you can give us a call on the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline. All right, Larry.
All right, brother, this is something I've been holding back. This is the pioneer of recording the Southern rock that really made the movement. Rodney Mills, master engineer and producer for Studio One from Douglas, Georgia. That's 20 miles behind me because I'm still at home in Ocilla. I first met Rodney in 1969. He was at Lefebvre Studio.
Okay.
You might remember Mylon Lefebvre.
Yeah, Mylon Lefebvre, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, well, we recorded the Beethoven, my road band. I was only barely 16. We went up there and recorded Look All Around and She Don't Care on the single, which we pitched to every radio station in the country. But the Look All Around was quite a gem, and he liked it. And he actually told later, when they did Sweet Home Alabama, when he engineered that for Skynyrd, he said, listen to this hi-hat work. And the hi-hat work I did on Look All Around, I always felt I influenced Bob Burns in that opening thing, that opening. Yeah, and that's okay. I'm not blowing smoke on me, but.
No, that's cool. I mean.
Yeah, Rodney, I met Rodney when I was younger. But, okay, so here's what happened. Here's how Studio One got to come about. It was Buddy Bowie and Bill Lowry. Bill Lowry booked us, and I wrote stuff for the Beethoven. So Buddy Bowie, had the vision to pull talent from the Candyman and the classics to go to Atlanta. Well, Rodney Mills built Studio One. We recorded Look All Around at Lefebvre Studio in 69. Well, a year later, he built Studio One and designed it. So he was the master engineer of Tuesday's Gone, Freebird, Simple Man, Sweet Home Alabama, Doraville, that smell, what's your name? Spooky, ARS, 38 Special. I'm not going to go any further because it goes on and on.
Jeez.
So his first hit, when I met him in 69, he had a band from North Carolina called the Winstons. They were a gospel group, and they had a big hit, Color Him Father. If you Google that, that was a very strong song. It was a gospel band that hit on the pop chart.
Okay.
Talking about their father, relationship with their father.
Mm-hmm.
So Rodney was instrumental. If it hadn't been for Buddy Bowie's vision and Rick Hall, that all this crossed into Atlanta and eventually went down to Macon and then Jacksonville. I mean, his resume for Southern Rock Recordings is unreal. I mean, we could talk an hour just about him. So he was an icon in the Southern Rock movement. And it wasn't just Southern Rock songs. He actually produced, I don't know if you remember a band called Starbuck that had a one-hit
very well. Yeah.
Well, I met those guys, and that's another story. We'll save that. They had Moonlight Feels Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they even say Ole Miss in it.
Reference Ole Miss. Yeah, it was class of 74, I think.
Right. And you remember the Towns, so Rodney did the Towns. It goes on, but I thought I would give him a kudos because he's still up in Atlanta, still doing engineering, not as big as, he's retired, but he does it on the side.
Yeah, that's a great story, man.
But this story, you saw it, you heard his resume, Doraville, Spooky, ARS, we know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to do the trivia question that's going to be relevant to just what we talked about. The song that he produced also and engineered. And it goes like this. When you walked into the room, there was voodoo in the vibes. I was captured by your style, but I could not catch your eyes.
Ooh.
Grouping, name of the group and name of the song.
All right, folks, you're listening.
I'll give a hint.
Give it to him one more time.
All right. I'm going to give a hint on the end. When you walked into the room, there was voodoo in the vibes. I was captured by your style, but I could not catch your eyes. I am so. I'll leave it right there.
Yeah, I got it.
I can't quite get the guitar part right.
Let me say this. Let me give him another clue.
Okay.
And if you are a 70s Southern rock fan into the early 80s, obviously we're all over the ATL anyway, but this is a tune that as soon as, tell you what, let's do this. Chase, pull it up. I'll send you a message for the song that he's talking about. Pull it up, and we'll play a little bit of the instrumental version. I'm going to send it to
It came
Chase.
along the time of Spooky in that era right there.
Yeah.
One of their biggest hits. It was a big hit on
huge hit. And he is the first the song title, the second's the band. Pull it up.
I got to make it hard sometimes. He's going
to play a little clip of it so they can hear the tune.
Okay.
And while we're doing that, let's punch Bryce over too, if you don't mind, Chase, to talk to Larry. Hey, good morning, Bryce.
Well, I wanted to hear that song a little bit because I think I know who it is.
Well, if you think you know who it is, go ahead and hit it. I mean, that's
Dean Daughtry on the piano.
Hang on, here it is. Got that little groove to it.
Dean Daughtry on that piano, man. Gary, I used his drums on my recording. Look all around. Robert Nix.
It's Atlanta Rhythm Section is the name of the group.
Yeah, you gotta get
all right.
What's the song, Bryce?
Voodoo in.
That was the lyrics. He gave you a little bit of the lyrics. That's not the song title.
I can't remember the song title, but I know that's Atlanta Rhythm Section.
Call us if you know the song, 205-342-9904. All right, Bryce, what you got for Larry?
Let me ask you one thing. Hey, one other thing. What's your prediction? I missed it, Larry. I mean, dang, I can't even talk. So, Gary, what's your prediction on the game?
I got 31-24 Alabama.
That's about where I'm at, but I don't.
All right,
I don't
I'm
know if
going
that's scored that
38.
many points.
I'm going 38-24.
Okay.
Hey, are they going to be? Is it going to be raining in Baton Rouge because they said that storm's coming in? on the
Yeah,
coast
I
of Louisiana?
think most of it's going to dissipate. I think I'll pull the forecast up, but I don't think it's going to be too bad. I mean, I don't think it's going to be like 1979 where it was a monsoon.
Right.
So-
Well, that's going to be to their advantage, right? Because they can't run the ball.
Well, I don't know. I mean, both teams are going to be playing in it, but there's a chance for some showers on Saturday, but it doesn't look like it's going to be too bad.
I can't think the name of that song. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't.
Well,
but maybe someone else knows it.
All right, somebody else in.
Thanks, man.
All right,
I appreciate y'all.
thank you,
Larry, I
Bryce.
hope you're doing okay, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate that. All right, yeah, we got the groove going in the background. That's the great thing about it. We can find instrumental versions of these songs. You don't give away the lyrics, and also it doesn't get us into any copyright issues for the podcast. So it's kind of perfect. But that is a great
Well, I
tune.
had that real remembering piano opening there. Dean Dahlgren.
Yeah.
But Buddy, if it hadn't been for Buddy Bowie's vision, a lot of this would have never happened.
That's right.
He's the one
he was the conductor, man. You're right. He got all this going. All right, Punch
The
Scott through in
Candy Man.
Tennessee. Jason, let's see if he knows. Hey, good morning, Scott.
Hey guys, how are y'all?
Doing well.
So into you from the Atlanta Rhythm.
You got it, my friend.
Yes,
you got
sir.
it. Yes, sir. Great song. Yep.
Yes, it was. I really enjoy you guys' show. I never have called in before, but I live in Springfield, Tennessee.
Well, good. We're glad to have you. Visit with Larry a minute, Scott. If you got a thought on music or anything you want him to answer.
Hey, brother, I didn't tell Gary. I'll go ahead and put it out there. I'm going to do more details later. We're planning to go to Graceland for Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I went in 82 when it opened. Maymay's never been, and she is excited. I mean, because there's so much more now to see. And actually, we're staying in the guest room on the property. They have a guest room now.
Oh, wow.
But we couldn't do it if we waited for Christmas. Of course, they're gonna have the lights up anyway for Thanksgiving. By Thanksgiving, they'll have the Christmas lights up.
Well, that's big time, man. You'll have to give us a report for sure.
Well, I'm gonna get with you later. I don't want to take up the show time, but we're gonna try to come back through Tuscaloosa and eat.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh,
I want to go to Southern Outhouse. So.
All right. Well, we'll do it, pal.
I'll get with you on that later. You can give me a heads up.
Okay.
We might have to spend the night out of town or something. But,
Okay. All right, Scott.
But how
man.
you go ahead. All right. Thank you, man. Thanks for calling in.
Appreciate you, Scott. All right, let's get to Gavin down in Dauphin Island. Gavin got him his print yesterday. He won the print that we gave away a couple weeks ago. Hey, Gavin, good morning. And also brought me and Ryan Fowler, Larry, he's got Deco Farms down there, and that's where I get my Sugar Baby watermelons. But he brought us a vegetable basket that was unbelievable yesterday.
Oh,
good
man.
morning, Gavin.
Hey, good morning, Gary. Good morning. Did somebody guess the name of the song?
Yeah, but you can go ahead and guess it if you didn't hear him. What was
it's
it?
So Into You?
That's right.
So Into You?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Well, good deal.
Gary,
yeah, man.
Where's your place at, your farm?
Grand Bay, Alabama, right there, southwest Mobile County. And I live on Dauphin Island. You ever been to Dauphin Island?
I have. Have you ever done much with citrus trees?
Oh, yeah. Got plenty of them. I've got an orchard of those, like a big orchard, a persimmon orchard, both varieties of persimmon, the Japanese soft ones and also the hard apple persimmons. And then I have a big orchard with 8 different varieties.
Larry, his farm.
I was a nurseryman for years.
Larry, his farm is something else. Gavin's farm is something you can look it up on the internet. It is unbelievable.
I will.
It's been my family since 1850s, and been my family since 1850s. And my dad's the oldest of 10 brothers and sisters, and they're all passed away. But he's the oldest. He's 93, and just over the last 100 years, they just added this, added that, added. We have a 3-acre vineyard of scuppernines and muscadines planted back in the 70s, and just amazing. I've just kind of taken over. There's nobody left. Keep on.
I've grown I did a lot of work with Satsumas and Meyer lemons. I grow a lot of Meyer lemons.
Yes, sir.
They're cold hardy and
right. Satsumas will only grow, no more than about 100 miles north of the Gulf Coast.
That's right.
So is your place in southern Georgia, I guess?
Yeah, there's a lot of U-pick. Some of the farmers have gone into Satsumas and Meyer lemons, and they're doing U-picks.
Right.
Kind of adding in.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Over in Alabama, Gary, Evergreen, Alabama is about as far as you can go with Satsumas.
Well, I appreciate what all you brought me yesterday, Gavin, and I.
Yes, sir. Have a great day.
It was unbelievable. Thank you, sir. Good to hear from you. 205-342-9904 if you want to visit with Larry about some music. Staying on the Atlanta Rhythm Section theme, because you know that band so well, and
I was going to say, let me say this. Like I said, Buddy Bowie already had the Candyman and the classics. And when I walked in Lefebvre Studio, Don Nix's drums that he played with the Candyman, he was doing studio work then. This was already coming in fold. Buddy had called these guys in the classics and the Candyman and said, y'all need to get up here, for studio work. We're going to make this thing happen. And then Rodney Mills put this whole thing together, and that's how Studio One came about. I mean, look at his just what I called out. What a resume.
Yeah. So the Candyman kind of to some degree morphed into the Atlanta Rhythm Section, Doraville Sound, and all of that. The name Atlanta Rhythm Section, obviously rhythm, and also it implies that when they initially got the Atlanta Rhythm Section going, were the thought process that they would be a headlining band, or were they going to work in the studio, back other musicians?
They were the house studio band.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, and then they went beyond that.
Yeah. And you can see the Candyman play with Roy Orbison on numerous shows in the 60s when they backed him up, and Don almost cried. I told Mamie, I said, Don Nix is using the same drums. Those Ludwig champagne pink sparkle, that was a popular color in the 60s. And I got to play on them. I got to do a couple of songs on them, and that's how all that got happen. Yeah. It just takes vision, man. But I'm telling you, the Alabama music scene, Pat Benford, Rick Hall, and Buddy Bowie, and then getting with Bill Lowry and then Phil Walden.
Right.
That's right. It just,
yeah. Who was their main songwriter? Larry, do you know? Did they write as a group? Did they solicit songs from outside writers? Because, I mean, like you said, they had a string of hits. What was...
Ronnie Hammond wrote, Dean wrote, Robert Nix. Let me tell you about Robert Nix, the drummer. And a lot of people don't know this. He played on Tuesday's Gone because Bob Burns could not get what they needed on it, and Ronnie Van Zant finally said, "Look, dude, this is costing us arm and a leg. We've done 20 takes and it still ain't right." Rodney Mills got Robert Nix in there, and just listen to Tuesday's Gone on the beautiful drumming, what he does on it. Now, Bob Burns did play it live, but it was nothing like what Robert Nix did. Yeah, they were all writers. J.R. Cobb, the rhythm player, Barry Bailey, the guitar player, which I think is one of the most underrated guitar players there's ever been. Barry Bailey, the work he did on Spooky, I mean, and J.R. Cobb had that rhythm. If you listen to the classics hits, he brought that same rhythm structure to the ARS that really complemented Barry's style,
Right. Right. All right.
And then they decided, they went on the road, man, and they decided, hey, we're going to push this thing.
Yeah, we're going to be more than just a studio band. They became headliners and a lot of the jams, Champagne Jam, obviously, in that. Let's get Cowboy on. Punch him through. Good morning, Cowboy.
How you doing, Gary?
Doing
I was
great.
going to ask Larry, did he know anybody in 38 Special or anything like that? And also some back in the
I met Rick Carlisi. I knew him from the Jacksonville when I was down there.
Guitar player. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
some kind of Southern rockabilly,
What happened? Rick had a different look. He said, "We're not going to be Skinner or the Allman Brothers. We're going for radio airplay." And they did. They had a formula that worked. If you listen to all their songs, they always had that guitar riff, that same structure, kind of like Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Mm-hmm.
You listen to those songs, Randy Bachman always had that riff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they had many hit records. 38 Special probably.
Oh, string album. Yeah, you start with Wild Eyed Southern Boys on through the late 80s. They turned
He
them out.
called it radio friendly. He said we were radio friendly. We're not a jam band.
Right.
Yeah, I remember the song. I had an
Hold On
amplifier
Loosely
in my car that would kick it in. That was that "Hold On Loosely" song.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, I love that song.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yes, it's got that same. If you listen to a lot of their songs, they got that same riff going on.
Yeah, they had a formula, and it absolutely rocked. I mean, you start with I guess
that first album had 4 hits off of it.
Yeah. You know, they had "Rockin' Into the Night," "Wild Eyed Southern Boys." You know, those albums. And then, of course, by that time they were big, and the Tour de Force album was, you know, mainstay on MTV with the singles. And one of those videos that they had, had the girl that married Bruce Springsteen. I forget her name. Divorced him, but
Patty
Cialfa
or whatever.
Yes. No, that's not that. Her, the one before that, the model.
The other one.
Yeah, the one before the singer. And but anyway, they were huge. You know, soundtracks and movies and everything else.
One last thing, Larry, did you ever some kind of rockabilly Southern? Did you ever hear a band, Jason and the Scorchers, when I was at Alabama?
Oh, I remember Jason Scorchers real well.
Yeah.
My brother ran into Jason on 280 about 7, 8, 9 years ago in Birmingham. Yeah.
Yeah, what was it? They had a hit. They had a big hit in the 80s that was I'm trying to remember them because I remember them well, but I remember they were
Telling White Lies. Telling White Lies.
Yeah, they were good, and they made the bar scene. But getting back to 38 Special. Yeah,
thanks, Larry.
Thank you, Cowboy.
Yes, sir.
I love some 38 Special now, and they had so many good songs. Like you said, that's interesting the way you phrased it. They had a hook, they had a formula, but that song "Fantasy Girl" is one of my favorites.
Oh,
lately I'm learning so many yearnings and never.
Yeah, that real.
Yeah, that was a great. It wasn't
Tom
a huge
was
hit,
a genius, man.
It was a great song. So do you
Randy Bachman wrote "Taking Care of Business" before a show they did. He said, "I want y'all to hear this." They just did it backstage and then ended up doing it on stage, and he had that same riff thing going on too with all their songs, you know.
Do you still interact with a lot of these people?
Unfortunately, most of them are dead or they don't remember anything. I'm sad. I hate to say that. Yeah. I message Mickey every now and then. He's in California.
Mm-hmm.
My friend from the band we were in lives in Valdosta. He said his wife keeps a tight rein on him. Mickey was pretty wild.
Yeah.
She blocked him. He was our bass player, and she said she blocked me.
Lord,
you don't like him to interact with any of them.
Like Hank said, all my rowdy friends have settled down because it's times.
They really have, and I hate them. They
Well,
can't remember nothing.
Yeah, I know.
I'm the only one that's. May says your mind is so sharp still. Because a lot of the guys I played with.
I talk about it all the time, man. Pro wrestlers and musicians. Hard living takes a toll.
Hey, I want to call the sheriff out today, Sheriff Tom Whippersnapper.
Whippersnapper came up on Barry.
I like to drop my coffee, call Barry Whippersnapper.
He sure did, you young whippersnapper, you. Hey, Larry, got to close it out, man. Awesome as always, my friend.
All right, brother. Enjoyed it.
I appreciate it. Larry the Music Man. 10:53. We'll take our final timeout and come back and wrap up the show right after this.
The Alabama Securities Commission protects you from financial fraud. Anyone asking you for investment money must be licensed. You're careful with your money. Fraudsters aren't. Before you invest, call our hotline at 1-800-222-1253 to verify the licensing of the person making an offer and the product. Don't lose your hard-earned money.
Offering you 100% satisfaction and appointments set around your schedule. Give us a call for all your steam cleaning needs, 205-553-9460. Houston Hydro Steam. Quality work you can stand on.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky cloudy at times today and tonight. We'll have the chance of a few scattered showers around. The high today 77, tonight's low 64. Tomorrow and Thursday mostly cloudy. A chance of showers and storms both days. Highs between 75 and 78. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3240 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 78 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
For more from Tide 100.9, let it fly! Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and SoundCloud.
All right, 10:57. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Gary Harris Show. Thank you for tuning in, and we appreciate our guest as well. Tomorrow, we're loaded on Thursdays. The coach, Ellis Johnson, breaking down SEC football. D. Orlando Ledbetter with the Falcons report, and ABC 3340 sports anchor Jeff Spiegel. All that coming up tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. T-Town Sports Daily is coming up next. Have a great day, everybody. For Chase Brumfeld, I'm Gary Harris, and we'll talk to you again in the morning at 9 a.m. on The Gary Harris Show.